I'd like to start with a reminder in the form of one of my favorite quotes. We don't rise to the level of our goals, but we fall to the level of our systems. Systems are processes that help us take an input and then reliably turn that into a specific output, right? So we're taking something that we have and then we're turning it into something that we want. That is what we are using systems for. Now, a notion of life is a system. It's a big system, it's a comprehensive system, it's a complex system, but it's a system nonetheless. It helps us take certain inputs and turn them into certain outputs. So like we discussed in the project tracker video, you can see over here that what we do with this system is we take our wisdom and insight and then we combine that with knowledge and execution to get our desired outcome, to build our desired life. So the first step is knowing what is it that I actually want. It is the why, thinking about what you actually want. Then when you know what you actually want, then you need to know, how am I going to get there? And that is where we have knowledge, right? That is the practical things we need to know to be able to actually get there. And then the third thing that we need to do is that when we know what we want and when we know how to get there, we need to actually start moving. And that is where we have this execution part. And the review phase of the circle of growth is dedicated to making sure that our system keeps running smoothly, because systems need maintenance, right? The law of the universe is entropy. Things are always falling apart. Disorder is always arising everywhere. And the way we sort of combat this disorder is by having processes in place, making sure that we keep polishing up the system, right? When a plant is growing, we need to give it water. When we are working out hard, we need to eat nutritious food, right? So we need to maintain our systems so that they can keep doing what we want them to do. And that is why we have this review phase over here, right? So brief recap, we have this insight. What is it that I want to do? Who am I? What are my core values, my vision goals? Then we create a plan. We set goals for ourselves. We reverse engineer those into milestones, into actions. Then we structure our workspaces. We structure our knowledge flows in such a way that we can execute optimally. And then after that, we review our systems. We review to see, is this structure still working? Is this plan still working? Then after that, we reflect, and that leads to new insight, right? So the review phase makes sure that our systems keep running smoothly. Now, the beauty of review cycles inside the notion of life system is that they're stacked on top of each other. So one review feeds into the next review. And in a previous video, we had a look at the daily review, which is a short review. It's a short feedback loop. We do it today, we see the result tomorrow, right? And we just check in with things like daily actions and how we are feeling today. But then now we are going to cover the weekly review, which is a slightly longer feedback loop, and it covers the medium depth action and knowledge. So we're looking at projects and we're looking at reflections of the past week. And the beauty is that these reviews start feeding into each other. So we use the insights that we collected during the daily review to actually inform our weekly review. So for example, we check in with the reflections that we made during our daily reviews, but we also look at all the actions that we did during this week. And then later on in this series, later on in the system, we're grabbing this weekly review and we're feeding that one into the monthly review. And then we're taking the monthly review and we're feeding that into the quarterly review. And then we're taking that one and we're feeding it into the yearly review. And what you can see in this graph is by feeding these reviews into each other, we get exponential growth. So in the beginning, you might not see a lot of gain, but as we're doing this and as the time progresses, the growth is exponential. And that is how we get to our dream outcome, to the desired life that we really want to be living, because we're continuously checking, we're continuously balancing. Who do I want to be? What do I need to do? On the very tiny micro level, on the intermediate level, and on the big picture level. We keep aligning all these different levels with each other. Now, the important thing to keep in mind here is that a short feedback loop gives us instant reward. So it motivates us right here, right now. We do something, I get the reward, I instantly feel motivated because I know that the thing that I did got me that result. The longer these reviews get, the longer the feedback loop is. So when I get a very cool insight from my yearly review, it might take me a year before I see the benefit of that actual insight. So in the beginning, a lot of this is going to feel like you're putting in work, but you're not really seeing the result. But once you have gone through a full cycle of all of these reviews, then you will see the true power of having a review system in place.